Hi, everyone. I am so excited to present today. I am talking all things generative AI cybersecurity for the American Society of Association Executives, the Center for Association Leadership. I can't wait to get started. So, let me explain a few ground rules before we get started. I like interactive programs. So that means I'm going to ask questions. If you happen to be alone, that's okay. You can just shout it out. If you're somewhere where you may get some strange looks, you can certainly write down your responses or just say them inside. And if you are in a group of your fellow AEs, then of course, chat among yourself. Let's go ahead and get started. Today's session is entitled Cyber Smart AI Strong. We're going to talk about safeguarding your association in the age of deepfakes and data threats. We're going to start with our first interaction of the day. I'm going to ask you to name your first car. Again, you can shout it out, write it down, or share it with whoever is around. The next question is, what is your favorite book? And then the final question is, what is your high school mascot? Now, everyone hopefully is participating. That makes it a little more fun, right? And a little more interactive. Guess what just happened? You were socially engineered. Nothing to feel bad about. It happens to all of us. My goal today is to make sure it doesn't happen to your detriment. Social engineering is when a cyber criminal tricks you into sharing information that you typically would not share, information that they can use to steal your identity or to hack into your accounts. Think about what happens if you lose a password, whether it's a social media account or a bank or any other kind of online account. You're going to click lost password, and typically you will get a security challenge, right? What are some of those questions for the security challenge? Mother's maiden name, street you grew up on, your first pet. What about your first car? Your favorite book? Favorite teacher? You see where I'm going, right? So the goal now is you understand that cyber criminals are looking for that personal information, financial information that they can use to hack or guess your passwords. So going forward, be social, but beware of how they're going to use the information. How does social engineering look in any kind of business or organization? The goal is to get you to click on potentially malicious links. Also, to get you to reveal personal and financial information that you normally would not. So let's talk about data privacy concerns for members in an association. First, data harvesting. AI systems can extract and compile information of all of your members. And as you know, that's a big no no. Identity exposure. Personal identifiers can be extracted from seemingly innocent information that you may think is anonymous, but it's not. What about inference attacks? If you can deduce certain sensitive information, even when it's not specifically shared, if you can get enough information to make an educated guess, that's what they're trying to do. And legal vulnerabilities. Today's session is also about risk reduction, risk mitigation. My goal is to prevent these cyber crimes right up front so you have nothing to worry about. Okay, data privacy concerns. Now, your member information is golden to you. Am I right? And you know that you cannot jeopardize your member information. Let's talk about ways to keep it out of the hands of cyber criminals. They don't necessarily need to hack it, they can find a lot of information publicly. Now, your association is specifically tasked with how that member information is stored and how it is used. So that's why it's especially important for you to protect it and guard it the best that you can. So a lot of associations like to do member spotlights. So on your website, maybe an email, on a Facebook or social media page, you have your members and you could be recognizing them for an anniversary or anything. These are AI images that I've created. So you will notice as we go along that I'm going to identify when I've used AI to create images. We're going to touch upon ethics, although that's in my full class. Today, you're getting the high level class. It's a short mini class, but The in-depth class will go into more details, but I want you to have all of the information that you need now. We're going to talk about ethics. So the ethical way to use AI is to disclose it, to cite it, to credit it. These are my AI creations. I made them up. And I typically have if I don't have a citation written on it, I'm going to say it verbally, and that is something you should get in the habit of doing as well. So we have a 5-year member here, and then we have another member here. We've got his name and how long he's been an active member, right? So social media posts, wherever you share this information, it's out there. That innocent member spotlight, it could be a job post, a promotion post, it could be part of a larger AI training model. So if you're using AI to create these posts, keep in mind that that information is not private. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Okay, so here we are looking at a little more detailed member spotlight. So this 25-year employee, he likes to fish. He likes to golf. His wife's name is Marge, and he happens to have 2 cats. And they're the name of the cats, right? The names of the cats. Think about when you lose a password, what are some of the password hints, right? Could be a pet name. So this is innocent, a member spotlight. Cyber criminals going through your website or your Facebook page, and they're looking for these clues. And guess what? This 25-year employee may be the next victim of social engineering. They have enough information to convince him that they know him pretty well. Here's another member spotlight. Now, she's been there for 11 years. She's a sales rep. She's got a couple of kids, and there's her pet's name. Same thing. Enough information for cyber criminals to be able to convince them to socially engineer them, that they know them, and to make them feel comfortable sharing information until today. Because I am talking to you as the leadership. But one thing that you need to understand is safety and cybersecurity starts at the top, and then it's up to you to share it downward, everyone in your organization. There is, of course, training for your people, but you will have the tools today to start implementing these practices, including the book that ChatGPT and I wrote for you. What about your About Us page on your website? That's where you get the names, you get the titles. So again, a criminal could just be glancing, looking for who are we going to target today? And then they can find who they want to target. And if they click on a link, you may tell a little bit about each person. I am not saying not to do this because it does add social credibility when people can go to the website and see who's who. But this is where it's important, and many of you already know, to have an email submission as opposed to an email address, which can get caught up in all kinds of fraud, just to have a box or form where they submit questions. That way, your executives' emails are not public, and that would help lessen the opportunity for them to be targeted. Okay. Today, we're also going to talk about the dark side of AI, how cyber criminals are weaponizing generative AI for fraud and scam. Advanced impersonation, we're going to do show and tell today. AI creates perfect mimics of trusted contacts. That could be vendors, it could be coworkers, and it could be your boss. And you as the boss, they could use your voice and target your employees or those your members even. So we're going to talk about workarounds. Perfect language mastery. In the olden days, criminals weren't always the best well-written, right? They couldn't write perfect paragraphs. You would look at the emails and you just knew something was wrong. The English was broken. It was improper. The grammatical errors were off the charts. It was obvious. Not anymore. When you understand how AI works, and if you've used it before, you know all of us are suddenly good writers. Also, automation at scale. There are training classes where you can learn how to use AI to reduce bottlenecks, how to create automation, and all kinds of tasks, right? Cyber criminals are doing it too. So instead of sending out email by email, one at a time, targeting someone, they can send out mass emails. So it's even more dangerous, unfortunately. But again, education is the key. Deepfake creation. This is fake videos and voice clips. We're going to talk about how that shows itself in the association world and what you can do to get out in front of it and stop it. I know I don't have to convince you that you're smart for being here, but let me go ahead and go over why that is true. Cybercrime is a $10.3 billion business. I said billion with a B That was in 2023. It is amplified, it is increased now that cyber criminals are using generative AI to commit these crimes, and again, at scale. Who's the target? Small and medium businesses, they're prime targets because they think we're small. And this could, of course, go for associations. If you think we only have 100 members, so criminals are not looking for us, just because you think that makes you even more of a target, an even bigger target, as a matter of fact. What about employees of businesses of all sizes? So large corporations and companies who may not have the time to have training for everyone, that person who answers the phone, the person in the warehouse who may get emails and they're processing orders, anyone within your organization could be the target of a social engineering attack. So everyone needs training, and even vendors. A lot of people don't understand the value of making sure if your cyber practices are shored up, but your vendors aren't, and they have a hack, and you've paid them or you've received money from them, and your bank information is on their files, in their files, guess what? You have a cyber problem as well. So you must talk to your vendors. And again, that is something that can be included in the training, the checklist, making sure you check your vendors, anyone who you do business with. That is so important and often overlooked. AI is a game changer for good and evil, and I cannot imagine life without it. And there are some people who haven't touched it. It's like November of 2022, and they're not curious enough to touch it, typically because they're nervous or they're afraid. My job today is not only to teach you how to use the tools in a safe way, but to use the tools, how to be productive. And I will be able to do a few examples today, a few less than normal, but you will get a feel for it. As an association leader, you handle sensitive data, you operate on trust. Your members must trust you with that information, right? And you are a prime cyber target. But after today, we can't say that anymore. Again, it is a 2.9 billion with a B dollar business. A lot of the crime occurs through business email compromise. Raise your hand if you use email in your business. Every single one of us should have our hands raised, right? That's how cyber criminals are coming to you. So that's where we need to stop them. It is happening now to banks, financial institutions, associations, to landscaping companies, retail companies. Every kind of business out there is a target. What I had to do is create a place for people to find the stories about these crimes, find a link, a place to find the articles. I created a Facebook page. I'm going to make sure you have a link at the end, but this is where we have conversations about the crimes in in businesses and associations, not just AI, generative AI, but all kinds of safety and security issues that are in the news. I also had to start a YouTube channel. A lot of people don't want big chunks of information. They like their information in bite-sized pieces, right? So I create many videos, and that is something that you can share with your members. That's another value add. Here's information on a specific topic. Share it. Share it on social media, in your email newsletters, because if you lead with safety, then your membership will understand that you truly care about them. There are four types of businesses. And when I say businesses, I mean organizations, I mean sole proprietors, I mean salespeople. Number one, there's one that has been hacked. I'm sure some of you all have been hacked or you know someone who has been. There are those that will be hacked. I'm doing these out of order. Okay. So one day, it's not a matter of if, it's simply when. There are those that don't even know that they have a hack. There could be a cyber criminal lying in wait, and you don't know it yet. And then the ones I'm talking to today, those that have taken the proper steps to avoid being hacked. Again, cybercrime is a people problem. It is something that we have to do in order to be victimized. What does that mean? That means I bet if you look on the table or desk in front of you, or in the window of your car, if you're listening in while on the road, you're going to have a phone or a device, right? Does that device automatically infect itself with malware? Does malware just out of the blue jump onto your device, your laptop, your tablet, or your phone? Absolutely not. What has to happen for your device to get infected? You. You need to click a link. You need to download something. You need to respond to something. So that tells you that you are a participant if a crime is committed against you. That is what can be prevented. That's what we're doing today. I have the honor of having hosted the country's only real estate safety podcast. It's an award winning podcast. I'm an award winning host. I also get called on by the media to share information about crimes, AI crimes, or any kind of safety and security crimes. I am a writer for national publications and I'm a resource, and I love what I do. I also get the opportunity, the privilege to share this information across the country. So being able to share it with your leadership it's wonderful, and I know that the reach will be great based on the numbers of how many members you have. One thing that everyone needs to understand is there are so many scams, and the scams are coming to all of us. There are the grandparent scams. There's the QR code scam. The teenagers, if you have young people in your life, you need to understand about the teenage the targets for generative AI. And again, I get an opportunity to work with schools and school districts talking about how do we get this information in the hands of teenagers who need to know about it. And again, those are my deep fake creations. Those don't exist. There's so many different programs out there that I lead, and you'll have the information at the end. But just understand that typically people don't know where to go for their safety and security and cybersecurity training. I'd like to think I'm a one-stop shop. So what we're going to cover today, how AI is weaponized by criminals. We're going to talk about spotting and stopping deepfakes, as well as ransomware and everything in between. How to stop BEC, that's business email attacks, and that's typically where the criminal is coming to you. How to use the tools safely. I want you to use the tools. I am an advocate for the tools. People are afraid if they don't know how to use them. That stops today. What you're going to leave with today is an action plan. You're going to leave with the booklet that I've written specifically for you that will have policy information to get you started. So it's a start. Of course, it's going to take a little bit longer to develop a deeper, more clear plan. But after today, you will have what you need to immediately begin mitigating risk and to stop some of the potential crimes coming your way. The Safe AI framework. You all know about prompting. People want to use the tools. There is an actual safety framework that I created that will allow you to use the tools in a safe way. And certification details. I do offer certification when people take the full class, all kinds of bonuses. So I am excited to be able, again, to give you information that you can use today. So for those of you who think, I don't use AI, I can live without it. No, you can. If you watch YouTube and Netflix, those suggestions or the algorithm, that's AI saying, we know what you like, we're going to give you more. If you have a smart thermostat, that's AI. Spell check, yep, AI. If you have any kind of video camera, video doorbell camera, how does it know when a person is approaching as opposed to just an object? That's AI. You have Alexa or Google Nest or Hey Google, any of those tools, you guessed it. We all use AI. It's a part of our lives. McDonald's, and I'm here in the Kansas City area.
Please clarify what tools you are referring to.
Okay, so
a relevant answer. I need more context.
that would be my phone
you
listening
asking
to me say, Hey Google. So that is, again, another privacy issue. That is AI, and it's always listening. So that is a hint. I didn't turn it on. You saw me. So that's an excellent example. I didn't plan that, but I'm glad you got an opportunity to see that the tools are listening. That includes Alexa and the other devices. And people are concerned about that. So any of these tools are using AI. If you've been to a restaurant lately, a drive-through, here in Kansas City, McDonald's has a voice that will greet you and take your order. It's not a person. We talk about AI replacing people, replacing jobs. That person didn't go to work that day, but that McDonald's owner or manager hired AI to come in to take your order. It's around us. It is not going anywhere. Tighten up. That is a complete sentence. I had an opportunity. I spoke in California, and there was a company that had a data breach. It was across the news for days on end. People could not talk about how it impacted the members. It was an association, and I'm not going to say the name, but it stopped the members from being able to access the data and the information to use the tool. So as a result, they had to go to other associations and have them share the data with them. A representative from that company showed up at this conference in California, and I'm thinking, you actually showed up. You showed your face. So I had to go and ask, what did you learn? I get to talk to thousands of people. What did you learn from your data breach that I can share with others? He said, tell them to tighten up their cybersecurity protocols. That is exactly what you're doing today. If you have not had cybersecurity training lately, that's going to happen today. At the end of our presentations, we're going to touch upon cybersecurity protocols that if you follow, again, you cannot be victimized. He said, tighten up. And he said, two, invest in cybersecurity training. So often we think it's not going to happen to us, not in our industry. We're too small. No one's paying attention. We're in a small town or no one knows about us. You're the perfect target again, because you think it won't happen to you. Think about what I said when I said cyber criminals can scale their criminal activities. So they can do mass emails, so they can reach big companies, small companies with the click of a keyboard button, right? They're coming for all of us. So tighten up your cybersecurity protocols. And then he said, invest in the cybersecurity training. But he said it's not just the financial investment in the training. Can you tell me what's a bigger cost of your association having a data breach or a data leak? Shout it out or write it down. Other than the financial cost, it's a big problem. Literally, your reputation, the personal, the reputational damage. It's hard to get that back. Who's going to trust an organization that has already shown that we're careless with our member information? My goal is that that should not and cannot happen to you. Understand that you are the target. I got an opportunity to talk to a Colorado Bureau of Investigations cybercrimes agent. And again, I said, I get to talk to thousands of people. What message should I share with them when I'm talking about generative AI cybersecurity? She said to let everyone who has any kind of a membership, any kind of a database, any customer base, to let them know they are the target. Cyber criminals are coming for your members' information, your clients' information, their clients' information. So understand that there's a bullseye on all of us. And again, my job is to help you remove that bullseye and to proceed and be productive without having to worry about it. Your membership directory and your event data make you prime targets. You probably aren't even thinking about that. That's what I'm here for. So a successful AI-powered scam could erase years of member trust. All you need is one scam, one person in your office, in your organization who has not had this training. And they click a link from someone who sounds like maybe the vendor that you typically pay. So they click a link to pay. And it's a little different, but they don't know to question it because they haven't had this training, right? One person can destroy all of that. Someone in your office shares a link with membership information. That could be damaging. What about the local chapters and you have volunteers and they may not all get the message? So that's again why not only is training important from the top down, but regular training. At least every quarter, you should be having these conversations to reinforce the message and to make sure it doesn't slip past anyone. And again, training for volunteers. What I have found is that volunteers appreciate when their association, their organization thinks enough of them to provide training that they can use in their personal life. I remember a participant saying, this is good, not just for work. So I like that our company is actually saying this is something that will help you in your personal life. And you'll see what I mean. So not only are you helping them keep your organization safe, but also their families. So why are associations unique targets? Decentralized operations. Again, you have tons of chapters, you have volunteers. Your headquarters could be in one place and everyone else is in another place spread out across the country, right? Or even spread out across the state. So that means that everybody's not in one place where you can reach them all. But in our virtual world, guess what? It can still get done, just like what we're doing now, right? It can still get done. Trust and reputation. One deep fake, one business email compromise is enough to damage any goodwill. I'm not just talking about your members, but if your members don't have the training, their customers and clients, and then everyone's unhappy. But the good news, it's all preventable. We can do this in a proactive way. So trust and reputation. Okay, that's the one we just covered. So you can't put a price on that. Another deep fake image. So this is the CEO. Safe work culture starts at the top. I don't have to tell you that because you are here now. You understand that. And it was important enough for you to take this training. So you already know. For your members, for their organizations, their companies, their businesses, they need to understand that they are the leadership. So everyone is responsible, everyone in the organization, but it starts with you. Also, Your board. Does your board of directors understand how important it is for them to have this training as well? Some people think executives don't necessarily need it. Let's just get our people who are out there in the field and on the phones. Absolutely not. I don't know if you've heard of anything called spear phishing, but we're going to talk about phishing in general. That's the emails you get designed to trick you into clicking. Spear phishing is when cyber criminals are looking at your website, they're looking at your board of directors, they're looking at the about page. They're trying to decide who in that organization is the weakest link. Is it someone on the board of directors who may not be involved on a regular basis? Is it an executive, again, who's up here and think that they're not down here and we don't have to worry about that executive? Every single person, and they may be easier targets. So definitely talk to your board of directors and all executive members, as well as your administrative staff and everyone, volunteers on down. Everyone needs training. I don't know how easier, how more clear I could be. Okay. And you have an IT department. How many times have I even spoken to IT departments where they say, we don't need you, Tracy. We're covered. We have an IT department. Your IT department can't do what I do. I can't do what they do. I speak a different language, and you'll see today. And I'll guarantee you that their training more than likely doesn't look or sound like mine. We all have our roles. Their role is super important for keeping everything in order, keeping everything safe, your firewalls, all of the hardware in place. I have a role. Talk to the end user. I talk to the people who are using the tools. The one person who could click that button or answer that phone call and not realize they're talking to a deep fake. What I like to do, if you have an IT department, is to work in conjunction with your IT department. Together, we can overcome anything. And I guarantee you, you will not be the victim of a cybercrime. It's completely preventable. So, data is the new trust currency. The information you have on your laptop, your membership information, is gold to cyber criminals. So they're looking for that information. The more public it is, the less likely you are to be able to protect it unless you take important steps. That's where your IT department comes into play. You need to understand the legal regulatory risk involved in your data. Financial exposure, we're talking about ransomware and wire fraud. And reputational damage, again, that's something you cannot put a price on. So let's talk a little bit about AI powered threats for associations, duals renewals. So if those go out, and let's say a cyber criminal decides they're going to send their own deepfake, they use ChatGPT and get a perfectly written dues renewal email. They're in your email system. Think about this. Just stop for a moment. They send an email to your database and they said it's time to pay dues. They're paying attention to your website. They know when dues are due. If they beat you to it and they send an email to your database about dues, guess who's getting the dues money? That cyber criminal. Do you think that your members who, first of all, have been scammed because you let it happen, do you think they're going to be happy paying you again? Absolutely not. So you lose the revenue. And secondly, you let their information be exposed, you let them be scammed. We need to stop that right up front. Malware is hidden in PDF handouts and webinar links. So a lot of us have the PDFs on our website and they're clickable. You will share information on these clickable documents. What if a cyber criminal gets in and they create a document, they post it on they hack into your website and they post it. So your members are thinking this is a document on our website. There's a link. I'm clicking it to get that download. It could be filled with malware. Again, that is a training and awareness issue. Event registration. What happens if they say here's an event? You get a special bonus if you sign up early. So they're writing the information about that event and it's not you. That's what training of your members is good for. They will, going forward, after they have had the training, they will know we need to question this. What are the steps we need to take to make sure this is not phishing and that we need to question this? So that is training that's a little different than yours. Your job is to raise awareness and to know this can happen. And their job is to know here's how we take care of the issue and stop the problem. If the CEO gets hacked, and let's say is hosting a meeting, a virtual meeting, and it happens to be a deep fake, just like I am talking to you now, and don't say, is she a deep fake? I am real. Okay. So let's say there is a virtual meeting and your CEO is saying, hey guys, there's some news, breaking news in the company. Here's what you need to know. If your members don't understand what a deep fake is, or they don't understand that a deep fake can create a video, then you have a problem. If you don't understand that your image can be used to create a video, there is a problem. So definitely train everyone from the top down. It could go either way. And again, that's my deepfake image. So who are the targets? Small businesses, prime targets because they don't have the resources. A small 1 or 2 person business might not have resources. What if you have a membership association, small, 10, 100 or so, they don't have an IT department. But training like this is a great equalizer because it's the same information that they need. They don't need resources. So you be a resource for them. Also, big companies. So people think big companies, they have it made. Big companies don't often take the time to train their employees because they're too busy, too much to do, too many departments. Who is supposed to do it? This department or that department? Who? And it doesn't get done. So big companies, frontline staff, that's your administrative, that's your customer service, tellers, sales reps, your board of directors again, executives, assistants, everyone could be the weakest link. And do I have to say it again? Who needs the training? Everyone. So how are they coming to you? The business email compromise. And again, this is where a lot of the crimes occur directly through email. So they're coming to you this way. So we're going to talk about how to keep your email safe. Deepfake voices. You could make a call to your employees. They hear your voice, they don't understand deepfakes, they're going to do what you tell them to do unless they know better. And again, show and tell. I'm going to show you exactly how that's an issue. So I got a little excited and flipped ahead. One thing I want you to understand is that the phishing emails now grammatically correct. They look perfect. We're going to do a little show and tell on those. Fake vendors. Your accounts payable person gets an invoice just like normal. She or he pays it just like normal. They find out it was AI created. That's a problem. Board invoices, executive director messages. Nothing is safe nowadays. A lot of times when you hear the term insider threat, it sounds like you're saying that your people can't be trusted and your people are the ones who are going to turn on you. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is your people may inadvertently, accidentally be the ones that cause your organization great distress. If they're not trained, they could be a threat. So your employees could be helping scammers without even knowing it. Your employees could be dedicated and loyal, but they don't understand. If they're not trained, they're going to be the one. And we talk about the damage to your organization, to your association. But what about the employee who, through no fault of their own, was not trained, did not understand that there was such a thing as a deep fake voice phone call? And I'm going to show you how it works. What if they didn't understand not to click links on emails? So the business, the organization, your association has a data breach. What about that one employee who didn't know better, who clicked that link or who downloaded something and set off a whole chain of events? What about them personally? Let's talk about risk mitigation so that that does not happen. So the most common entry point is going to be that employee. It's going to be that person at the front desk, someone who is a loyal employee again. It could be an office worker who gets a phone call. It could be you getting a phone call from your accounts department saying, hey, I need you to authorize payment of an invoice. It could be all of us. A customer service representative who doesn't know better. My goal is to stop it. You often hear talk about a firewall. I know your IT people will appreciate this. A firewall is important. But if your people aren't trained, a firewall is a waste of money. You can invest in the fanciest firewall, you can have the biggest IT department, but if your employees click that link or take that phone call, that firewall means nothing. So firewall has to work in conjunction with this kind of training. Humans are the last line of defense. And again, my images are typically AI. I'm disclosing it to be ethical. We need to talk about social engineering messages. We need to talk about that PDF that you're sharing, and a lot of businesses do. Talk about training on how to recognize a malicious link, the CEO or CFO phishing email. I like storytelling. So I call it lessons learned. It seems like we learn a little bit better if we hear how it's happened to someone else in real life instead of some mythical story that we don't know if it's ever happened or not. So I like storytelling. On November or in November of 2022, ChatGPT rolled out and everyone lost their minds, including me. A lot of people couldn't sleep because they were so excited when they see what it can do. People started using it for this, using it for that. It was the wild, wild west out there. And that's my AI impersonation, my AI image there. Everybody was doing anything with it. There was no one saying, wait a minute, how are we supposed to use this? Are we using it right? No one paused. That's my job. So often we think that we can judge a book by its cover. We think that we can look someone up and down and know whether or not they mean us harm. And I am here to tell you that that thinking is outdated in the age of AI. You cannot determine whether or not something is real or someone is real or someone means you harm or if they're okay. Let's play a game. Let's say you deal with luxury items, luxury properties, luxury products, anything, okay? So you're used to a higher level of income, and you are the person who thinks you can look someone up and judge a book by its cover. Let's say this fella pulls up in this truck dressed like this. Anyone know who this is? And again, yell it out or write it down. You're the luxury person and you're looking at this person dressed like this and driving this vehicle, and you have to make a decision if they're worth your time. And looking at him, judging that book by its cover, you're thinking, nah, that is Sam Walton, the founder of Walmart, one of the richest people in the world. And this is how he looked, how he drove, what he drove. So if you judge that book by its cover, it would cost you business, wouldn't it? What about this person? Anyone know who this is? And everyone always knows. There's always someone who knows who this is. That is Ted Bundy. Ted Bundy was a serial killer. How did they describe Ted Bundy? Clean cut, charismatic, charming, good looking fella. As a matter of fact, that's what he would do. He would wait in parking lots and he'd put a fake cast on to get a crutch or a cane. He would ask women to help him. And they would look at him as like, oh, he looks okay. And they would help him, much to their detriment. Isn't she cute? She's cute, looks fun, spunky, right? This looks like it could be an old classmate yearbook picture. She looks like she could be a neighbor. What if I told you that every single one of them were serial killers? You can't judge a book by its cover, and that's even more important in the age of AI. So, what are you supposed to do to keep yourself safe, to avoid being scammed or defrauded? Trust your gut. Every animal in nature has a built in survival mechanism that is hardly ever wrong. We call it instinct, intuition, sixth sense, flight or flight, spidey sense, whatever you want to call it. Trust that, especially in the age of deep fakes, phishing, and social engineering. Your body has your gut has one job only, and no other agenda. It is to warn you when you are in the presence of danger. So often we ignore it because we don't want to hurt someone's feelings. We don't want to be rude or offend someone. Again, your gut, when your stomach, you get that funny feeling in the pit of your stomach, your heart's beating fast, the hairs are standing up on your arm, in the back of your neck, your body is warning you that you are in danger. If you hear nothing else during this presentation, you must listen to that, especially in the age of AI. Listen to your bodies. I saw Oprah show when she would come on and she would have a guest on like two, three, four times. His name is Gavin DeBecker. He wrote a book called The Gift of Fear. If you can look over my shoulder, you will see this book and you'll see about two or three other copies of it on my bookshelf. This book ought to be required reading for everyone. It talks about instinct, intuition, how to use those fear signals that your body sends off, how to use them to stay safe. I guarantee you that book will save your life. You'll look at everything in a different way. It ought to be required reading for everyone. Remember, in the olden days, we used to ask, will technology replace us? Nowadays, the question is, will AI replace us? So many people are worried that AI is going to take their job. So they're not really happy about it. I am here to say it might, right? So the question is, will AI take your job? I was in Virginia. I had a lady say, I'm a salesperson. And if AI can't look someone in the eye, shake their hands, smile at them, I am not worried about it. Meet a Mecca. I watched Emeka being interviewed by a reporter. She looked him in the eye, smiled at him, and shook his hand. Some jobs will be lost to AI. The question is, how do you keep your job from being lost to AI? How do I keep my job from being lost to AI? The answer is to embrace the tools, learn how to use them to enhance your output, to enhance what you do so that you can't be replaced. There always has to be that center, the human-centered element. Use AI well, because AI doesn't work without humans, right? They have AI robots in warehouses. This is a security robot. Here in Kansas City, I was in a parking lot and I saw this little deal going around the perimeter of the parking lot, up and down every row. It's like, what am I looking at? I saw people looking at it in front of it. I even saw someone give it a inappropriate hand gesture. They didn't know what was going on, right? That is a security guard. That company saved $75,000 on a salary and benefits and hired that AI for security. It will not call in sick. It is not going to be distracted on its phone when a crime is occurring. And it will not need benefits, right? But guess what? It still has to have human involvement. A human had to program it. A human had to turn it on and set it up every day. A human has to be monitoring the cameras that are in there because it's going around the parking lot with cameras looking. There has to be a human being looking at it. So, although a security guard lost their job, the person running it has a job. So, you have to think, open your mind to think, how can I fit in with AI nowadays? They're replacing CEOs, guys. So they're trying to replace us, many of us. We can't let it happen. The question is AI a friend? Raise your hand if you believe it. What about a foe? Some people think it is the devil incarnate. I'm here to tell you that it's good. So if you use it in the right way, AI is amazing. I say often that it's magical. I can't imagine life or conducting business without it, right? And then there are those who use it improperly. And in the wrong hands, it is a foe. But if you are educated and you know how the wrong people use it, you empower yourself and you can avoid that. Now, psychological safety is a whole different term. And I want to say during the pandemic, I was contacted and did a program for the DC Department of Transportation. They had like 1,100 field force, I say about 132 managers. And people were worried going back to work. It was a weird time. Psychological safety means that your members, your people, your staff, your friends, family feel comfortable speaking up without fear of retribution, retaliation, or punishment. They know that if they have an issue or a concern, that they can talk to you as leaders and that you will hear them. You will thank them for sharing their information with you. It could be innovation. What if they have an idea that they think is just too wild and too crazy to tell anyone? They're too embarrassed. If they have psychological safety, they're going to come to you and they're going to talk to you. It may be the next big breakthrough for your organization, right? What if they're concerned about AI taking their job? Or are those going to be people who are excited about using the tools, even though it can make them more productive and make your organization better? If they feel comfortable coming to you and talking to you, and they know you will hear them, they're going to speak up. So, psychological safety is so important. And again, whole other training. There's a lot of science behind this. But if your people trust you and feel comfortable with you in your leadership role to talk to you, AI implementation is going to be even better. What happens if they accidentally click a link and they think they made a mistake and they're too afraid to speak up? So they think they'll just wait and let it go as opposed to telling you immediately. There could be implications and ramifications for not speaking up early. Make sure your workplace is psychologically safe. In the age of AI, you can no longer believe what you see, what you hear, or what you read. Just stop and just let it sink in. You can't believe what you see. It could be a deep fake, something that someone's created, like the pictures that I've created. What you hear, there are voice deep fakes, or what you read. You can no longer look at something so poorly written and know that that's AI because they're using the tools. And I just did a training class the other day, and someone said, you know what? That's sad. But I'm saying don't live As a paranoid person, don't live in fear, but be alert, be aware that it can happen. So that empowers you to move forward without fear. There's so many generative AI tools on the market from ChatGPT, and I found that that's probably the one most people are using. It's versatile, and if you have ChatGPT, if you had the paid program, you will notice a serious upgrade within the past month and a half. The images are better than ever. I can probably cancel my Mid-Journey image creation. The content is so much better. That's my favorite. I like Gemini. I use that for deep research. Copilot is great. It creates images and content. Midjourney, again, images. Perplexity is fabulous for research, deep research. It cites sources. What I'd say to you, and I encourage you to use the tools, is to pick a couple. Pick two or three that you're comfortable with. Don't try to choose a lot of them. When it first came out, I was creating content in chat in Gemini and Copilot, trying to think which is the best. Oh, this is good. This is better. This. I wasted time. The time that these tools save you, I wasted it. So find a tool that works for you, that does what you need it to do, and focus on that tool. That way you'll get better with it, and then you don't waste a lot of time. What can generative AI do for your organization? Help you write sales letters. And I'm sure some of you've already done this. Helps you translate. If you don't speak another language, you do now. It's a great equalizer. Multilingual. You can create content in different languages. If your membership speaks different languages, you can reach them in different languages now. If you want to target certain people who speak other languages and no one in your organization speaks it, you can reach them now too. So AI is a great equalizer. Create blog posts, content. A lot of people say we don't write well enough to create blogs. Now you do. And you don't even have to hire a writer. You can do it. And again, I'm going to say this, but I'm going to make sure I say it now. No such thing as copying and pasting. Don't be that person. Plagiarism is a big deal. Use it as an outline, use it as a guide, use it to spell check you or grammar check you. Even use it to create some content, but tweak it, add to it, change it a little bit, make it your own. Create social media campaigns. A lot of people are supposed to be doing social media, and you think, I don't have a social media manager. No one here writes well. We're not good at it. Now you can. Video scripts. We're supposed to do videos. Most people don't like how they look, how they sound. There is AI tools, the same ones the criminals use for deepfakes. You can use them for faceless videos. And if you want to do your own, you're good with the camera, write the script. You can co-author ebooks or full books. I've co-authored two of them for you all today, along with my buddy ChatGPT. I talked about a safe framework. You all will hear a lot about actually prompting. That again, if you get an opportunity to take a prompting class, take it. Any AI class you can take it. If you already had a class, then my training today is going to say, here, you know how to do it. Now here's how to do it safely. If you haven't had any of those training classes, you will go into them now knowing how to be safe. So the safety can fall on either side of the equation, but I strongly encourage you. It could be self-learning. I love YouTube University. Just I search any topic, I can learn, I can educate myself, I can watch online videos. I can use the tools to teach me step by step how do I do whatever task. Use it. Prompting is the key to good output. The better the prompt, the better the output. I have a framework, a safe framework, and this is included in one of the booklets that you're going to get. So I say this is something that every prompt should have: safety first or security first, always verify, and to educate continuously. So that means constant training all of the time. And the minimum of, I want to say a minimum of a quarter. Every quarter you should be in some kind of a class, virtual or real life. Anything used for good can be used for evil. So this is where the bad guys, they take some of the shine away, but it doesn't have to be that way. So if you know what to look for, you can spot it and you can stop it. So let's take a look here at some of the good ways. I don't want to be doom and gloom. That's not good, right? So let's talk a little bit about governance. And then this is the basics, the baseline. This is where we want to jump in and start using the tools immediately. And I'm saying, wait a minute, let's get some rules in place. A lot of times there are organizations that are just letting people use the tools. You don't know who's using them. You don't know how they're using them. And then when there are problems, this is where the employee, we didn't know. No one told us. So let's talk about getting rules in place. Create an AI use policy. This is something that I often help my clients with. Let's get a policy in place. Define what AI usage, which tools you can use, what you can use it for. Log AI usage. Who's using it? How often are they using it? And when are they using it? At least in the beginning, until you're able to get a good feel that the people who are using it are trained and trained regularly. That means every quarter they're getting updated training. That means they're getting the videos that I told you about on YouTube. Here's what you need to know, here's what you need to remember. So they're constantly getting trained. Review the AI outputs. Whatever AI spits out, that was kind of a crude term, right? Whatever AI shares with you, make sure you review it. I'm going to talk to you about fact checking it, but you need to review. Your organization has to have some policy to review what's being shared. And you're saying, oh my God, that's cumbersome. Have an AI czar or an AI lead on your team, someone who's interested in AI, who can be the person making sure everyone gets all the information and who knows the policies and gets the reminders. Review the AI outputs. Again, they're the ones that are overseeing it, just maybe spot checking it in the beginning, looking at pretty much everything, making sure it follows the rules. You must make sure that your vendors have been trained as well, because they so easily could open the door to your information when they get hacked, or someone could be impersonating them, and then that could cause a problem with your organization. Assign ownership. So this is where you get the AI leads or an ethics officer. If you're a small organization, I guarantee you there's at least one person who is excited about AI on your team, who will be the lead person, who will oversee this, the governance and the actual rules that you have in place. If you have a hack and no one has talked about it, then I guarantee you, if they're investigating it or there's going to be an issue, they're going to say, who was responsible for this? If you have no one, you just say, no, we just cross our fingers and hope this is okay. That's not going to be good for you. So have someone who is serious about training. And again, those are the people I love working with to make sure they're up to date and that they're sharing the proper information. I touched upon ethics, and you'll hear in the news, ethics is a big deal. You must be just transparent. And I've shared with you whenever I have used the tools to create images, I'm telling you. So whenever you use tools to create images for your email or social media, share. And it's not like people will say, oh, they're not doing the real work. They're cheating. They're using AI. No, first of all, you're saying I'm using AI. You're disclosing it. And secondly, it's like, oh, they're cool. They're up to date. They're using AI. Okay. This is not a dinosaur organization. So they're impressed that you're using it. AI tools have bias. And a lot of times, if you don't know about the bias, it could get you in trouble. And that is something a little too deep for just training today. I want to let you know that that's covered in I have a safety, ethics, and bias class is covered in there. Just make sure the tools that you use have been trained on a diverse data set so that you are not using tools that get you in trouble, and understand how the bias works. Respect data privacy. I can't say this enough. Your member information is golden to a criminal. You must keep it safe. That means you don't share it in the tool, since that's public information. You're already hopefully practicing that. So keep it private. And if people in your organization don't know that that's private, there's going to be problems. There was a big company, I forget which it was, but their employees were uploading proprietary information technology information. And then all of a sudden they found out it was public and it was a big headline. You do not want that for your organization. Deepfake anything. Are you going to be the company that creates synthetic voices, deepfake voices in your advertisement, deepfake images? I would say be very careful if you do, and if you do, disclose, disclose, disclose. Yes, you can use AI tools to automate and up your production and increase your output, but be careful. Don't lose the human center part of it, but have the humans use it to supplement them and their work. Dictionary.com created a word in the beginning of this whole AI journey, this generative AI journey, called hallucinations. The tools hallucinate. What does that mean? They lie. They make up stuff. So take a look at this. I saw someone use ChatGPT to talk about what's the heaviest hippo ever. So if you look at that, you will see there's a name of the heaviest hippo. You will see the weight. You will see some historic information. What if I told you that everything there is a lie? It's made up from whole cloth. The person reading this, if they didn't know that AI lies, let's say they're writing a paper, they would read this and they would write this down as fact. And they didn't understand that it hallucinates. Everything must be fact checked. Anything that you create, that you write with it, you must fact check everything. I don't care if it's a simple sentence, if it's recreating something that you've written, if you upload a document, a book, or a PDF, and you say, translate this into another language or summarize this, everything must be fact checked. So, what happens if you don't understand the fact check and you have a communications person who writes an email newsletter? They send it out, they didn't fact check it, and the information is wrong. And it gets out there, and someone calls you on it, and then someone else calls you on it. That's a problem. That's not the proper way to use the tool. Fact check everything. You've got to have the safety policies in place. This is going to protect your organization as well as your members and as well as your people. You don't want them to have that on their shoulders. Teach staff how to use it safely and ethically. And a lot of times you think, oh, by now everybody knows how to use it. People don't know yet. That's why I am here. Use private enterprise tools. So be careful of the public tools, and this is where I say be careful of the small AI tools. Little Johnny made an AI tool to change information into graphs and forms, and we're using just any old tools, and you're uploading it, and we don't know who Johnny is or how he's using our information. So use reputable tools in those situations. Red team your AI. This is where the role play and the different activities are going to be so important. Talk about vulnerabilities, talk on a regular basis, communicate with your team. Monitor for misuse. This is where your AI lead is going to be even more important. Your AI lead is going to be the person just spot checking after the initial training and the more intense checking and follow up. They're going to be spot checking to make sure that the tools are being used properly and that people understand what a crime looks like. And it's a constant reminder because I'm telling you, one time will not do the trick. After today, you will at least be alert and aware. But if you don't hear it again and again, follow up training and the follow up support, the aftercare, it's not going to stick oftentimes. Okay, you have to have a cybersecurity policy, and I'm assuming you do. If you touch any device, if you have any client data, you have to have a cybersecurity policy. This is where generative AI needs to be a part of your policy. I, that's not my AI image. I think I found that one somewhere. I often tell organizations to create business building content. I am looking at the clock and we're going to run a little bit out of time here. So I'm going to kind of zip through the rest, the show and tell. If you have facts, a graph or something, and you want to convert that into other content, you can do that with AI. So here is an association that I work with, a real estate association. This real estate association puts out a quarterly facts, right? So what did the salespeople do with that? What did the members do with that? They just typically stick that on their page. No more. The better the prompt, the better the output. I uploaded it to, that might be Copilot. And again, these tools pretty much all do the same thing. And I say, hey, Copilot, read this. Copilot, ChatGPT, Gemini will list what's in the graph. This is where you are fact checking, making sure that those numbers actually are what's in the box on the original document. Now I wanted to write a blog post based on the information contained in that graph. So let's sit back and see if it does it. So here's the blog post, and it's saying sellers, based on the numbers, it's time. It's your time. This is a seller's market. And buyers, hey, days are on the market a little bit longer, so you may have to be a little more careful and wait a little longer. Here is that information for the buyers, for the sellers, who you tell it. The better the prompt, the better the output. So it's taking the information from the original graph and it's putting it in some format that you ask for. This is a blog post, specifically who you ask for. For sell by owners, here's what you need to know from that information. Okay, now I need a social media post and I need you to make it go viral. Give me the SEO keywords. We often don't know what that means, and give me the hashtags. You can even ask it for the proper day of the week, the right day of the week, and the time of day for the best results. So here we have a social media post, well written, based still on that original graph. Wow. So you've turned that into a blog post, now a social media post. What else can we do with that? How about we write an email? Tell it in the voice you wanted to write it in, tell it what you wanted to say and who you're targeting. So from that original graph, here we have an email, a great subject line. So it is out there. Great detail. Now let's have it create an image. So this is the first image it created. I'm not too happy with that. So I can go back and I can make it create another image that will show what is actually written on that graph. So this is what it depicted. So you can even see the graph in the background. So this is how it illustrates what it saw in the graph. Amazing. Everybody can now be an author. You can all write a book. Again, the better your prompt, the better the output. If you can get this kind of training, I say get it. Keep in mind that your prompt, you can have a formula for prompts. And this is something I think is also in one of the books, or is this in my training, how to use it? Anyway, develop your own prompt. You can ask the tool, a format, who you're writing to, the style, and what you need it to do. And then that will give you the output that you need. This is my deepfake grandma, my AI image, the grandparent scam. And most of you have heard of this. That was when a criminal will call a grandparent, say, Mom, Grandma, and Grandpa, I need you to wire money. I'm in the hospital, I'm in jail, don't tell mom and dad. And they would send money and it would turn out to be a criminal. In the age of AI deepfakes, all they need is 3 seconds of your voice in order to duplicate it and to create a voice impersonation in your exact voice. Let's do some storytelling. I created this AI image before I knew that the person was actually a male who was on the Zoom call. So sorry about that, but that's my image. A guy was told to get on a Zoom. He was on a Zoom. He's looking at executives in his company, and he was told to, wire $25 million. And he wired $25 million because he's looking at the executives in his company tell him to do so. Turns out every single one of them was a deep fake. None of them were real. That money is not coming back. Criminals are using AI against you. Deepfake scams, the voice cloning, hyper realistic phishing, that's the phishing email. So, what about the CEO, or we can say the AE, right? This executive got a phone call from a CEO, just like normal, asking him to transfer $243,000. He always does this. So he did it. He called to follow up to make sure he did it. It was a voice deepfake. Someone duplicated his CEO's voice and he didn't know to even question it. That money's not coming back. So that is a danger in your association for your leadership, board members, and even members, that someone could create a deepfake and ask for anything, personal proprietary information or money. So you need to stop it at all levels. A scam call, it could be someone just saying, hey, I need a quick verification. Don't hang up. It comes in a phone call. It could come in a video, virtual video. So let's talk about how to spot it. What are the red flags? If there's urgency, hey, I need it in a hurry. I don't have time to explain. I'll tell you later. I just need to get it done now. Or, hey, I need that information. I normally wouldn't ask you for it, but I wouldn't ask if I didn't need it. I really need this information. If it's unusual or something that's not normal that you would expect, if there's a threat, look, get it for me now or else you may have consequences. Unverified sender, you don't know if it's really the person and you don't want to get in trouble, so you may just take a chance. If it's too good to be true, hey, go ahead and send me this money, and then I will send you a gift certificate. It's an investment. You're going to make more money, or whatever the situation is, or pay the invoice now. Instead of paying $5,000, pay $3,000, and we're going to give you that $2,000 discount. Wink, wink. Too good to be true. Unusual attachments or links, click this, download this, stop. Or if the language or tone isn't what you expect in business, don't do it. So how do you know? How do you protect against a grandparent scam or the CEO scam? Have a code word. If the family members can't tell you a code word when they're calling to ask for money or for help or for information, or in your business, asking you to pay a bill, an invoice, if they don't know the code word, hang up and then call them on a number that you know is theirs. So a code word is important for your business life, your association life, as well as your personal life. So you need to understand the risk. Business email is where the crimes are occurring. Cyber criminals are looking for you. That's the weak link. They can find your email address anywhere. Hopefully not on LinkedIn, hopefully not on social media, and hopefully not on your website. We've talked about that. Keep in mind that cybercrime is preventable. It is a people problem. It's human behavior. Understand that there's no such thing as privacy. Anything you put on social media, on the internet, even in the tools, public information. The trainers and those AI companies are reading it, looking at it to train their models to make them smarter. And then also that information can leak out into the public. Business email compromise is a big deal. So they're sending emails, they're well-written emails, and they're asking you for information. They're trying to get you to click. I have a new rule. I told you the dollar amount. This is a growing business, and they're tricking everyone of all sizes. And everyone can write well now. So no more looking for those poorly written emails. That is not a clue. You must you must question everything. Text messages now, no matter what the title says, some of them are tempting. You may want to click. No more. Let's talk about what a phishing email looks like in the age of AI. So you can ask the tool, or cyber criminal can ask the tool to write an email thanking someone for their payments from your organization. Thank you for your dues payment of $500. Your members get that. And your dues are only $100. And it says if you don't believe this or you dispute this, click this link or call this number. And your members click the link. They're opening up their device to more scams and more fraud. They call, they're giving away more information. You must have a conversation with them, warning them. Do not click anything. And I'm touching up on this lightly for the awareness part as we get ready to wrap up with the cybersecurity training part of it. Google Translate is getting really accurate. It's good. So if you want to reach another market, another language, use the tools. So this is Croatian. In Kansas City area, we have Strawberry Hill, an area where there are people who are who speak Croatian. A lot of people around here don't. So who's reaching them? So you decide that's my target market, or I have members who speak Croatian, and then you ask the tools to write something. It can do it in almost any language. But how do you know if it's accurate or not? You don't. This is where you use Google Translate, which is an AI tool, in order to translate it. So you copy and paste the output, and then it's going to tell you whether or not you say what you think you say. So definitely be sure that you're using AI tools to fact check AI. Let's talk quickly about deepfakes. Deepfakes would be putting a face on another body, making it say or do things that you've never or they've never said or done, right? Here is one that I thought was particularly good. I was watching Queen Elizabeth on YouTube, and she was sitting there talking, and then she got up and she started dancing. Like, wait a minute, something's wrong with this picture. That's not Queen Elizabeth. I realized it was a deep fake. This lady put Queen Elizabeth's face on her body, and she got up and danced. You can't believe what you see. What about this deep fake I saw on YouTube as well? The Ukrainian president telling his soldiers to lay down their weapons, the war is over. It was a deep fake. What if people didn't know better? Do you see how that could be dangerous? There is software. If you're supposed to make videos, and most of us are supposed to do that with social media content, there's software that will allow you to make a video. Pick a voice, pick a video, pick an avatar, or even upload your own picture to make a video. Cyber criminals are using these tools, so the legitimate tools are being misused. What about voices? It doesn't have to have a robot sounding voice because they're using tools that are designed to make a realistic voice. So the question is it real or is it a deep fake? We're going to kind of zip through this, watch it on your own. Which one of these do you think is real? Which one do you think is a deep fake? I told you that none of them exist on the face of the earth. All of them are AI images. After I showed this, I had someone who said, I'll never do online dating again. The images are getting better and better as we go along. So you need to watch for images. And also when you're getting writing, you need to look for clues. This is an email. What is the red flag? And this one, a private transfer. There's the urgency. What are the clues here? So anything, any invoice, any document, now your AI lead needs to train and reinforce that your people must question everything. And most importantly, do not click anything. I've learned not to click. You get that email, that text message, and you're tempted to click. Nope, stop and go directly to the website. Fake text messages. Again, they're coming to us text messages, social media, messenger, inboxes, as well as email. Question everything. So get used to showing your people what an email looks like because they look good now. They look professional. Drill in, do not click. I bet we have some kind of RV association as members. So you take a look at this Facebook Marketplace, right? Look at that RV. It's only 15,000. Wow. And everything is new. That's almost too good to be true. Okay, there's a good looking RV. There's the inside. That's good looking. Oh, there's the bedroom. There's the bathroom. Wow. Here's the bill of sale. It's professional looking. It's well written. It looks like legalese. And there's a way to pay. What if I told you I made that up? It was a deep fake. That RV does not exist. The images are fabulous. So you need to make sure your people, not only your staff, but your members understand how they could be targeted, how they can be a part of the issue. Here's another deepfake image. This is a property. I created this image and then I erased the coffee table and I use an AI tool to erase the shadow. You never knew it was there. So you need to understand that criminals could be using that as well. What about this image? This is someone's real image. I use a tool to erase everything off the countertop. It cleaned it up a little bit. So if you're in the real estate world, you need to make sure you're not ethically erasing something that you're not supposed to erase. You can't erase the microwave. You can't erase the ceiling fan. That is a problem. But know what you can erase, what you can do. I use that AI tool to create that problem as a slight foundation problem, right? And then I also use it to erase the problem and cover it up. Cyber criminals can make deceptive images of properties. What if I was in the association business of renting offices or spaces? These are all deep fakes. None of them exist. So understand the cyber criminals have access to these tools as well. If you're in the real estate world, you can use it to write descriptions. You can use it to show properties. What if you're in the Airbnb business? I created that with a deep fake. What if I'm a criminal? I can say, hey, look at this. Come rent this property and don't pay me online. Get me off site and I'll just give it to you at a discount. The property doesn't exist and that money's not coming back. Okay, before we move to our cybersecurity training, let's talk a little bit about recognizing the threats. What you need to understand is that there are deepfake voice, picture, deepfake threats, advanced phishing. We've talked about the phishing, what the phishing emails look like and how professional they look now. Social engineering, we've talked about that. So you need to learn how to detect a deepfake as well as phishing, how to identify a phishing email, as well as social engineering. We've talked about the social engineering, and now you are alert and aware. So I have confidence that you cannot be socially engineered. How do we tell if that picture is a deepfake? And when AI first came out, it had a problem with hands, with fingers, either too many fingers, not enough fingers, no fingers at all. So that was a tell. However, the tools are getting better and better. And at some point, that's not going to be a way to tell. We know to look for the hands, and this image is just kind of wacky, but it's kind of making the point that you need to look at pictures. You need to examine pictures, look at clues in the back. You'll see the red circles. So you need to look very closely at images. These are deepfake headshots. If you look at them, look at the detail, look at the clarity, the photorealistic of it all, the photorealism of it all. If you are prompting for a headshot, if you use the term photorealistic, you're going to get a realistic looking photograph. That's what we have here. You can't tell these from real. So you need to be alert and aware, and you use all of the tools in order to tell. I used Canva for these headshots. This is back when the tools first came out. Of course, the quality is so much better now. Look at the lady with the blue jacket. Look at the detail. Is it real or deep fake? You must question everything. If you're in the real estate business, a property management or real estate association, you need to understand how the tools can be used in your industry. This is a house. It's a deep fake house that I created. So the question is, how do we know if it's real or not? You're going to use Google Lens, which is an AI tool, and you're going to do a reverse image search. And you've heard that term before. It simply means to upload an image into the tool. Google is going to say, let me see if this is anywhere out here on the internet. I don't see an exact match. So that's clue number one, that this is more than likely a deep fake. Here is a property here. This one's real. How do I know? Because Google Lens said, here's the property when it was on the market. So it found the property. Google Lens is probably already on your phone. That little camera there is Google Lens, and I have to say it is magical. You also see the microphone. If you're somewhere and you hear a song and you want to know who sings that song, click the microphone and it's going to listen and it will tell you. It even works with live music. So I have to tell you how the tools can be used in a more positive way, not just all cybersecurity. And I do have a class where I talk about how to create content, specific content, and different workflows with the tools. And this is just kind of a fun way. It's a benefit to know how to use these tools outside of work, right? And just in real everyday life. I was in a class and I had a student who had on a shirt. I thought the shirt was cute. I said, "Where'd you get it?" So she starts telling me where she got it. And it's like, just may I take a picture and I can find out? I uploaded it to Google Lens and Google Lens found the shirt. So it gave me several options to buy the shirt. I got my shirt. It's amazing. I was at a train station here in Independence, Missouri, and I don't know if you're familiar with the RLDS church spiral, the temple here, but there was another building and it was an oval building. It's like, what is that? I took a picture, uploaded it to Google Lens, and it told me that it was part of the church structure. It's magical. If you see plants and you like plants, if you have an association, and I don't know if it's a botany association, I probably used the wrong words. And you take a picture of a plant, it will identify the plant. So I'm walking through the store taking pictures of plants that I love, and it's telling me not only where to find a plant, how much it costs, where to buy it, and how to take care of it. So if you have an association that deals with plants, that's a tool that you can offer, and it's Google Lens, a free tool. Offer it to your members, and just incorporate that. We're up to date. We're using AI, and here's a way you can use it. Is this a real person or is it AI? She's real. I uploaded her and then I found her online. She is a model. So that's a reverse image search if you question if someone is real or not. Let's talk a little bit about ways that AI could put you in danger. You hear the term bias used often when people are talking about AI. I'm going to touch upon this because this is a whole class that I had an opportunity to teach for high school students about ethics and safety as well as bias. But you need to know this. If you have, let's say you're a medical association or you're a law enforcement or first responders association, and you have an AI powered voice assist. So they answer the phone when you can't. AI has a voice bias. It is biased for white male voices. Anything other than that, it's not always going to understand you. The tools are getting better and they're learning that we need to be more diverse and inclusive. But until they do, keep in mind that if someone who is a woman, maybe older, younger, has a dialect, a regional dialect, or an accent, that it may not understand them. If they're calling 911, you're a first responder association, and they're calling 911, they may have to repeat themselves over and over again because it's anything other than a white male voice. It's going to be a delay. So please, there will be a delay. So make sure if you're using the tools that you talk to the provider, make sure they're trained on diverse data to keep you and your customers, your clients safe. If you are a doctor's office and you have them call in and interact with an AI powered chatbot or voice, and they're trying to describe symptoms or something, they may have to repeat themselves. If it's a 911 emergency, there's a delay. So definitely check with your provider. Facial recognition bias is a big deal. If you are a law enforcement association or agency, understand that again, these tools are trained typically on white males. Anything else other than that, there may be a bias. There is a bias, people of color. So the facial recognition software has identified people of color in dangerous situations more often than any other person or persons. And there were two notable arrests of Black women because the law enforcement official said, "Hey, the facial recognition software match your face. You are the one who committed the crime." And it turned out, no, there's just a bias for people of color. So again, talk to your software provider. Make sure it is trained on a diverse data set. What if you're a mortgage or financial association? If the tool is trained, let's say, on people in a certain zip code, a high income zip code, and you're checking credit or appraisal association in a neighborhood, and it's trained on that higher income or the higher property value, and then someone in another zip code, maybe a lower property value or different credit history applies, and then the tool says, you're not what we're used to, we're going to deny you. There is a bias there. So you must do your homework and understand bias's role, the role of bias in these tools to keep you out of trouble. Now, this could be a standalone class. I'm going to touch upon cybersecurity, and this is across the board with or without AI, but it just so happens that it's a great match when we're talking about AI scams and frauds. Cybersecurity, every single organization, regardless of size, you must have cybersecurity practices and protocols in place. You must have a cybersecurity policy. One of the books that I am providing to you is about cybersecurity, what we've talked about so far in cybersecurity's roles. So that is something you can share with your employees at your association, as well as your members, for them to share with their clients and their employees as well, because cyber crime is preventable. You've heard about ransomware, and ransomware is if a criminal hacks into your system, your data, and they get your data, they encrypt it, and they're holding it hostage. You can't access it because they've gotten into your system and they say, we have all of your client information. Either you're going to pay us or you're not getting it back. Or you're going to pay us and we're going to release your client's personal data. Law enforcement officials are telling you, do not pay for a couple of reasons. Number one, they're not exactly upstanding citizens, so you may pay and you might not get your data anyway. Or you may pay and they know that you'll pay and they will be back. So the goal is not to have to pay. So the solution is preventing this from happening. So the data protocols the cybersecurity protocols we're going to talk about will help you prevent it. Plus what we've learned so far about social engineering and understand that these are preventable crimes. And I'm going to tell you another thing. You must back it up. Get a cloud storage. Carbonite is one, or you can find any cloud storage, or this is something your IT department can work with you on. Cloud storage is a way to keep your information away from your servers and away from your devices. So if they do hack your devices, your information, your client information is here up in the cloud, totally separate. No such thing as ransomware because they don't have access to it. So do your homework and find a backup cloud solution. If you do not have cybersecurity insurance, you must get it. Even if you're not using AI, has nothing to do with it. If you have devices, if you have client data, if you're in business, you must have cybersecurity insurance. You can talk to your E&O agent or your business insurance agent, because if there is a data hack or a breach and you are liable, your clients are coming and there will be liability more than likely. Cyber insurance helps you protect against that, and then make sure if you can't write a check to settle in case you're found guilty, that you're still in business because your policy will cover it. Any good cybersecurity insurance policy, they're going to make sure you have cyber practices in place. So if you already have it, or if you don't, tell them that you've had training about cybersecurity, and I will have a certificate for those of you who complete this training. You'll just email me and ask for the certificate, and it is something that you will share with your insurance agent. It was a certificate of completion. Now, I do have another certification program. It's a longer program and a more in-depth program. The stuff that I said I didn't have time to talk about, that's certified, the program. I've created a certification for you. But either way, show that you've had cybersecurity training, and that will let them know that you've done something to reduce the risk and you're not just taking a chance and hoping for the best. If you get a reminder that it's time to update your security software, do it. So often we click a link, remind me later, because we just can't be bothered. Understand that if that company has had a data breach, if you're a hardware, your phone company, your laptop, whatever, your device company has had a data breach, and your password is on the dark web, it's out there for people to see, their job is to fix it, to protect you. They will create a patch. Once they create a patch, they'll send it to you as an update. Hey, you need to update your device because we have a patch here that will fix whatever vulnerability. And if you don't know that, you're thinking this is just an inconvenience, remind me later, remind me later. The best way is to schedule automatic security updates in the wee hours of the morning whenever you're not on your device, and it will just happen automatically. Two-step or two-factor authentication or multi-factor authentication is one of the most secure ways to protect your data, your accounts, and your device, period. That means in order to log into your email account, they're going to send you a text message with a PIN, a security code over here. If you don't have both parts of it, you're not getting in. Neither is a cyber criminal. So if they're trying to log into your bank account and you have two-factor authentication set up, you're going to get a text message and it's going to say, you're trying to log in, here's your PIN. And you're thinking, I'm not trying to log in. That's an indication that someone's trying to log into your bank account, but you've stopped them because they don't have the second set of information. So that's why two-factor, multi-factor authentication is so important, because a cyber criminal will not have both. There's just no way. Okay, all member logins, board portals, CRM access, any way to access those accounts must have the two-factor authentication in place across the board. If you don't have antivirus on your device, you must get it. If you have Windows computers, IT, I have an IT friend who says Windows Defender is probably the best built-in antivirus that you could have, and it's already there. They also recommended Avast, which has a free version. I have the free version on all devices, my tablet, laptop, as well as my smartphone. I have not had a problem. No viruses, no malware since. What it will do is it's going to warn you, even the free version, if there is a malicious website or a potential danger. Nothing is 100%, but keep in mind, this is another layer. You must have layers from the two-factor and this, and then I'm going to talk about the next layer. So you must have layers in order to keep your data, your client, your member data safe and secure. If you are using free email, stop it. Free email is easy to hack, and my understanding, and I don't know if this has changed because Google has updated and they have strengthened their security procedures, but for a while, Gmail was the most hacked email. I don't know if it's simply because of the numbers game, because more people have it, but the bottom line is free email is easy for cyber criminals to hack. Therefore, no free email for business. For your association business, you must have domain email. So it must be your name at whatever association. That does two things. One, it signals to maybe cyber criminals that this is not going to be an easy free email hack. Secondly, that association more than likely has an IT department with strong security protocols. So we're not going to do this. And hopefully your IT department does have strong security protocols. Any business conducted on free email, imagine if there is a hack and it's on someone's free email account, which they could be accessing at home on their phone. They leave their phone laying around somewhere. That's a liability. It's a risk issue. So you must address it. All email, business related, association related, must be on association email. Passwords are so yesterday. Passwords are the easiest way to get your accounts hacked. We're just not good at passwords. We admit it. Who knows their password by heart? If you know it by heart, that means you're probably using it across several devices, and that is a no-no. So passwords are a problem. Passphrase is the new password. I'm going to give you two options. Passphrase is next. Passphrase means two or more unrelated words. It could be something like purple sky. It can be a whole entire sentence. I love blue cats. Something that's unrelated that just doesn't make sense at all is better than trying to figure out a password, or better to keep them out, cyber criminals out, than a password. So two or more unrelated phrases is a passphrase. What's even better, the absolute most secure way is a passkey. Microsoft has one. Google has one. The passkey is AI biometric data. That is your thumbprint. That is facial recognition. So no one has the same thumbprint as you. I happen to have a twin sister. Her thumb will not open my device. So if that won't happen, I know a cyber criminal definitely is not getting in. So facial recognition, this is a good way to use facial recognition, or thumbprint is the absolute most secure way to protect your devices and lock them down. So that is a conversation you will have with your IT department. If you are the victim of a cybercrime, don't just say, oh, we'll just deal with it and just move on. You must report it to the FBI. If it is wire fraud, and that is typically how cyber criminals are getting money, they're asking you to send money either through a link or a portal or wire it, or if your clients or your members are the victims of wire fraud. If you recognize it and you report it to the FBI within a certain time frame, I've heard 48 to 72 hours, you may get your money back. And if not, the money is gone. But the bottom line is wire fraud is a big business, especially if you're in the mortgage industry, the title and the real estate industry. Wire fraud is a big deal. And that's why the steps that I've talked about today, having a conversation with your clients, if you're in the real estate world, having a conversation with your clients in any world, saying, if you get an email from our association or from our business for your members, here are steps that you need to take to make sure it's not a scam or a fraud. Educate your consumers, educate your clients so that they're not scammed. Because if they are, that's money you're not going to get because the money is going to cyber criminals. They're not getting it back more than likely. So you lose business. So it's a conversation worth having. And again, your reputation. So wire fraud is a big deal. And that's, I talk a little bit more about that in my full class. But the point is, wire fraud, business email compromise is how they're getting money. And with proper training and awareness, it can happen. Report the crime so that the FBI can investigate as well as warn and alert other people. What we did today is we had education. Education and awareness is the key to preventing these types of crime. If you know better, you will do better. For those of your members who don't know, they have no idea, they're going to be victims. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. But the frustrating part is that these crimes can be prevented. That's why I do what I do. They can be prevented. Risk reduction, again, your insurance agent, your risk management officer is going to love you that you've taken the time to get training to help reduce your insurance costs, to help reduce the risk. And again, request that certificate. You can just simply email me and request a certificate. But the people who get the certificate, and let me back up. Actually, when you download the 2 books that I'm going to give you, the cybersecurity books, then I know that you took the class. You will get the certificate of completion. The certification, totally different certificate. So now you have the information. It is time for you to go forward as leaders and empower your members. Understand that education and resources is the way to use these tools in a safe manner and to know what's going on. This webinar is a great benefit from ASAE for its members to make sure you're not the victims of a cybercrime. And it, again, is something that you can share. It trickles down to your members and to your members' clients so that they're not victims. Security toolkits. You'll have the 2 books from me, and I think one of them might have a toolkit. The one for associations is a toolkit, as a matter of fact, or a beginner's kit. Anyway, you will see that information. So you have information in hand that you can read and refer to. It can be customized for your association for you to distribute. It's a way for you to show your value. Consultation hotline, not necessarily a hotline, but if you have the full training, you have access to me. You can reach me at any time with questions and asking for resources. This is what I do full time. Assessment templates, that is included in the association. You need to assess who's using AI, who is practicing cybersecurity protocols. This is for you, your information only. I did this for an association, and they were shocked when they found out that they weren't doing half of what they needed to do to have a cybersecurity policy in place. This was an eye opener, and then now they're going forward. You must budget for cybersecurity. This is not one of those things that you wait and let's see what happens or let's hope it doesn't happen. Because again, it's not if, it's when. And hopefully you will have learned today how to prevent that so that it does not happen to you. But it's cheaper to invest in training for your members and your clients right now as opposed to waiting and trying to recover from a breach. Personal, the reputation as well as financially, it cost what, an average of $4.4 million to fix a data breach. And some of that is reputational and some of it's the actual systems. I hope the training wasn't overwhelming. People always want the training to be a little bit shorter. And I always say, I've got too much information to share, and it's digestible, so it's something you can listen to as you go along, or all at once. Some people say it's engaging. You can just sit through it all, and you at least are aware. You might not have taken a lot of notes. You don't have to because I've given you the book, but you're aware. You know what to question. Here's your final homework. Every single person in your organization should have to do this. Google, have I been pwned? There is no vowel between P and W. Have I been pwned, like owned, except with a P? Put your email address in there, and then you will get a list of websites where they have had data breaches and your password is on the dark web. Those sites must be changed. So just Google, have I been pwned? Don't worry about the symbols. Have I been pwned? Enter your email address and or your phone number and find out. When I did it, my password was in 28 data breaches. That's overwhelming. So you may just do maybe two changed passwords, two at a time, or three a day, four a day, or just carve out some time and just sit down and update your password because that password could fall into criminal hands. You must take that seriously. This is something that every member of your staff should do. Board members, executive team, everyone needs to do that. And for your clients, for your members, they can share this with their clients. That's another way to show your value and add value. Change passwords. That's a serious deal. The booklet on the left is a starter kit. I call it a toolkit. It's a starter kit. So it just reinforces what we talked about today, gives you something, a roadmap to get started and to get the cybersecurity practices in place and to start getting a cyber aware community. The one on the right is something that you or your members can share with your clients. This is for regular, everyday businesses and people, no matter how big or small the business is, that they can actually practice cybersecurity, hygiene, or protocols. When I give you my email address or the QR code, and this is a good QR code, you're going to see this screen is my link tree. Look for the cybersecurity handbook. Click that link, and then you'll scroll down, enter your information. Your email address is how you're going to get it, and you're going to get a PDF document immediately for immediate use, immediate sharing. You can email me, and yes, I have a Gmail address, but I don't have client data on that Gmail address. If you have membership or client data, that's when there is an issue. Or next up, I'm going to give you a QR code so you can make note of my email address. I take a picture of the screen. You can find me on social media, either Safety and Security Source or Tracy, the Safety Lady, in some variation or form, and follow me and stay connected that way. Here is the QR code. Again, don't forget to scroll down, click cybersecurity booklet, and get your certificate. Request your certificate once you have it. Once I see that you have the booklet, I will send that out, share that with your risk management or your insurance agent, and then you will also get information on other in-depth training that's designed to reduce your risk, save you money, and keep you, your customers, and your data, your members safe. That is that is everything. So I want to thank you all so much for your attention today, and everyone stay safe.